The most infamous wedding of yours? Is it the Disney wedding?
You can't just be complacent in where you are and not know what's in the future. I'll cook the food in London and we'll send it over to Paris. To offset that carbon footprint, we planted over 30,000 trees in Dubai.
You mentioned that you keep your phone on silent because of anxiety. You recently went to Georgia. How do you think that could be a wedding destination?
They empower women to choose the life they want for themselves.
Wedding is seasonal. They're based on auspicious dates. What do you do the rest of the months? But the honest truth is that planners make commissions from big vendors like the hotels.
If someone tells you otherwise, it's incorrect.
So yeah, tell me, when was the princess's wedding that you did?
That was last year, so 2022. It was a 11-day celebration.
And this is when you were just getting out of COVID.
Yeah. We'd almost come out of COVID. So 2020, I mean, Dubai as a country did really well with COVID in terms of coming out of it fairly quickly. So we started our first wedding in August in 2020 itself. So this was in 2022. It was 6 days in Medellin, followed by 3 days in Paris, and then 2.5 days in Dubai. Yeah, a lot of fun. It was our first African wedding, so we'd never done an African wedding before.
Okay.
And post-COVID, we wanted to sort of widen our horizons, do something different. We've been doing South Asian weddings for 10 years, and we're like, let's try and learn something different, where we're not just speaking about safas and puja samagri and typical sangeet and reception and mehndi and haldi and pitti and stuff like that. So we're like, let's see what an African wedding looks and feels like, and if it's feasible, it was a lot of fun.
Nice. And it's royalty.
And it's worth.
How many weddings have you done so far?
So we have either, I don't have the exact count, we've either touched or crossed 300.
And I'm assuming Indian weddings is comprising the major chunk of it.
Absolutely. So like I said, until COVID, we only did South Asian weddings. Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, every now and then a Nepali wedding. But primarily your South Asian diaspora, even though they didn't come from, most of them didn't come out of India. They were either Europe, African, American, and regional based, but mostly Indians.
Okay. And the most infamous wedding of yours, is it the Disney wedding? Like, what is the wedding that is the most talked about? Because it was so unique.
I would say yeah. I think not infamous, but the most talked about wedding would be our Disney Paris wedding. It was the same year that Ranbir and Deepika did their wedding.
Okay.
Which was 2019, and we had a lot of media coverage. A lot of people from all over the world asking us how you did it. It's never been done before in the history of Disneyland Paris. First time in 27 years, someone had privatized Disney. So it was one of a kind.
How did you pull that off?
It was not fun or easy because it took a lot. One, dealing with the French vendors and partners. Language is a bit of a barrier there. So that was one of the big challenges that we faced. The second would be the size of Disney. Having walked on an average of 40 to 50,000 steps a day. So a recce normally for a hotel takes a minimum 30 minutes and a maximum of 2 hours. Here a recce would take a full day. So we would start in the morning for the recce, walk around, throw the first spot. Then we would walk to the second spot. Then we would do a lunch break. Then we would go walking around again for a third spot, fourth spot, then take another break. And it would finish at like 8 p.m.
Did you lose some weight?
I did a lot, actually. I wish I did more Disney weddings and I could lose more weight. But yeah, that was one of the most talked about weddings. Multiple challenges. They wouldn't let us cook inside, which is a typical part of a South Asian wedding where bringing outdoor catering is a part of a big wedding. And we couldn't find the space, even though Disney is so big. Given the health and safety standards, they wouldn't let us cook inside. And the cost of setting up a entire live station, like a makeshift kitchen outside, like a satellite kitchen outside, was extremely expensive. And somehow we managed to convince the caterer, who was super supportive at the time, and said, "Listen, I'll cook the food in London. I will vacuum pack it, and we'll send it over to Paris every morning, early hours in the morning, and then you can then we'll serve it there." So the food was cooked every day in London and then shipped to Paris, and it was served in Paris.
Okay. How did that taste? Was that all right?
It was not bad. I can't say it was the best, but given the situation, this was the best case scenario. It nothing can taste like freshly cooked food at the same time, right? But the way they managed the logistics of it, I think it did really well.
Okay. You mentioned you do 12 weddings a year. Why do you cut it off there? What is the reason behind that?
I mean, we want to be able to give people the right time and the attention they need, because our weddings are mostly very high profile. We can't become a cookie cutter wedding planning company. Can't do 30 or 40 weddings. We do 12, and we give everybody the attention they need and try and bring their vision to life. Every wedding is different to the other. Every bride has a different vision to what she wants to see, and it's usually very bespoke, very unique. So
So what makes you a premium service? Like, you're not a cookie cutter, you do limited select few, but what makes you premium?
I mean, that's what makes us special, right? The fact that we do limited number of weddings, we give people the attention they need. Uh, we don't want each one of our weddings to look like one another. We want to be able to give each and every family member the time they deserve and the attention of listening to what they have to say, their view, and how we can make it happen for them as a family. And each wedding could take anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, depending on when they reach out to us. Like one of the big weddings we did this year, which was in Jan, we've been planning it for 2 years. And you require that time and attention. It had 600 people, it had 9 events. It was a full buyout of the Caesar's Palace. Now it's called Banyan but at the time, the Caesar's Palace, 320 rooms over
Wow.
over 4 nights, 9 events, and then pre and post.
Okay,
It
fantastic.
takes a lot of time and effort.
Okay. And what are the scope of services that you offer? Like, what comes in-house?
I mean, essentially everything, right? We're a bespoke company that handles everything from helping you find your venue, first a destination, then a venue, and then one by one eliminating all your vendors one by one. So first would come the destination. Excuse me. So in some cases, we take the clients to multiple destinations around the world. Currently, we're doing a wedding in Greece, and we looked at 4 or 5 different locations from Portugal to Italy to Cyprus, and we finally settled on Greece. Then within Greece, we looked at 5 or 6 hotels, out of which we visited them, we saw them, we liked the one, we negotiated, and then finally closed the deal with them.
How stressful? Wedding planner comes in the top list of being a stressful job.
Mhm. I mean, Forbes rates it the 5th most.
Yeah, I've also seen a top 3 in one of the other articles, but you mentioned that you keep your phone on silent because of anxiety. So can we tread on that?
I mean, we have a lot of Zoom calls. We meet clients regularly. We want to give people the time that we have with them and feel like we're completely dedicated to that conversation. It's extremely important that we're really hearing what they say, even though in many cases they're saying things we already know, but we want to make them feel like they're being heard. We care about them. And that's why on Zoom calls or um, on in meetings, you'll never hear my phone ring. Having said that, you'll hear alarms go off because I have to remind myself for things that if I told you that, Anish, when I go back into my office, I will make a connection for you to this person.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to say it. I want to make a reminder. So when I get back into my office, I remember it because the minute I walk in, there'll be 100 different small fires that I have to fight. So my reminders go off maybe 10 times a day. And if you speak to people that I spend time with, the wife, colleagues, they'll know that my alarms go off every like 20 minutes in the office for something that I'm supposed to remember.
Okay. You mentioned wife, Charlene, who works, you guys work together. How do you make sure you don't step on each other's toes at work? Like, how do you strike that balance?
It's, you know what, at first I thought it would be very difficult. But because Charlene doesn't have a specific role at the office, she essentially works on the same level as me, which means she plugs herself in where she's required. So she could be helping um, the admin team with something that they need to do, or she could be going for a food tasting, or she could be with us for a client meeting, or she could be on ground uh, getting things done for a wedding, or even on ground during a wedding. So there's no specific role that she plays. So she fits herself very perfectly in the gaps that she feels is required to make this work, and that's exactly where essentially the expectations of her is nothing but everything.
Okay, interesting. But she works full time.
She works full time. She comes to the office with me most mornings, unless she has something else in the morning or a meeting. Then we go in separate cars. But most times we'll drive in the same car, get to the office for 8:45, 9, and then we're in the office till late.
So you don't believe a structured role, scope of work needs to be etched out so you guys don't step on each other or make sure that such conversations don't go home and there is a debate or an argument?
I mean, there's always a debate, right? It's the line of work that we're in. We can't be whilst we're very serious about our systems and processes, we have our commercial director, Karen, that sort of looks after all our systems and processes. And everywhere she finds a gap, she puts a system in it. She puts paperwork in it. And now we're going digital. So things are going more digitally oriented. But whilst everybody else has a dedicated role, whether it's business development, it's accounts, it's vendor management, it's client management, it's ops related or F&B related. Charlene is pretty much like me. I
Okay.
don't have a job either, right? As a CEO of the company or as a founder of the company, my job is one, strategy, and second, PR. So I go out
You're the face of the company.
essentially. So I'll be with the client, I'll make them feel comfortable. I then hand them over to my team, and then they go ahead and run the wedding.
Okay. Yeah. And you also close the deals. I mean,
I
you're the
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I think it gives the clients a lot of comfort that I'm there, and I'm there every step of the way. If I'm doing only 12 weddings, it's my promise to my clients that I'm going to be there at every single wedding, and that's how it's been since we started.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, because you kind of make the first impression.
I'm always there at first meetings, unless I'm traveling and they're coming over to the office. Then our director of business development and events that meets them.
Okay. Uh, how do you forecast? Wedding is seasonal, especially because you primarily do South Asian weddings. They're based on auspicious dates, which are between November to March. What do you do the rest of the months?
I mean, weddings are seasonal in this part of the world.
Yeah.
So whilst we're busy, October onwards till March, April in this part of the world, which is Bahrain, Oman, UAE, and Qatar. We also look at a lot of weddings within Europe. So whether it's Turkey, we have one wedding in Greece. We did 2 weddings in Italy last year. Whether it's Bali, those months then fill out the rest of the year. So we may not just fill up 12 weddings between October to March.
Yeah.
We'll then spread it out.
I notice you miss Saudi. Do you see potential then?
Absolutely. There is a lot of potential in Saudi, just not yet. We've been speaking to the Saudi tourism and different government departments, and there's a lot of interest there. But it will start slowly. A lot of the weddings we do has a lot of entertainment aspect, and obviously alcohol plays a big role when it comes to South Asian weddings, at least, and even the Western weddings. Um, One, that needs to be a bit more open, and second, an ecosystem needs to be developed in Saudi, which existingly for destination weddings does not exist. So whilst there's a tremendous amount of potential, they should start acting now so we can then, within the next 3, 4, or 5 years, capitalize on that.
Okay. You also mentioned you are going digital. Is that any integration with AI?
Yes, not really with complete AI, but parts of the digitization would be with AI integrated in it. So whether it's our first touch point, how people reach out to us. Are they filling out a Google Sheets form, or are they filling out a questionnaire that was on our email? Previously, we would just send a set of questions and we'd say, can you please answer these, send them back to us. Now it's on Google Sheets. How we integrate that Google Sheets with the rest of the CRM system, which we're currently working on to get on board. But yeah, we're going digital as much as possible.
Okay. Are you attending the EPEX?
I am.
Okay, great. Do you play a role as a speaker?
I'm speaking on a panel session, and we're talking about the latest trends going forward.
Mostly you're invited. I noticed that you're always at panels, speaking, judging. You're either a part of the Q&A.
Yeah. I mean,
Does that
I've
come
been
natural?
blessed.
Yeah.
What, speaking?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I hate speaking. I used to always hate speaking. I've just gotten more used to it over the years. In the past, I would have some colleague, somebody in the office to do the speaking aspect. But then with time and the right kind of mentorship, I'm in a direction where my job as a CEO, as a founder, as an owner, is to, one, strategize for the company, and second, be the face of the company. So go out speaking at panel sessions or doing keynote speeches around other conferences around the world, sharing our experiences. And that's what I do now. I do I still enjoy speaking? Do I get nervous? Absolutely. Do I enjoy it? It's very stressful. But I guess with time,
It doesn't show.
really, I appreciate that, buddy.
You're a pro in that. You've been doing so many.
It's like everything in life. I think it just comes with practice. I still remember the first EPEX I was speaking at. I think it was in 2020 or 2021. And I was speaking to a friend. I'm like, I'm so nervous being on this panel, and I'm just going to speak to the organizers and just drop out and just tell them I'm not ready for it, or make some excuse. And then my friend's like, what you feel, it doesn't show. And what's the worst case scenario? You'll say something that you don't mean. You can learn from it and you'll move on. And yeah, it's become a bit more comfortable now. I don't still enjoy it 100%. There's also a lot of work that goes into speaking. Like the panel session that I'm speaking at EPEX, I'm moderating.
Okay, you're the moderator.
Exactly. So I have to get everybody on a Zoom call, discuss with them what their thought process is, what kind of questions they're comfortable with, list out the questions for them, have some sample answers, and then send out those questions on email. It's not really scripted. It's just giving them points of what we're going to be discussing about. So I just don't catch them off guard.
I thought that it must be coming natural to them, like, very organic.
Not really. Listen, everyone, because I know how
Everyone's not you.
No, I was about to say the other way around. Everyone's like me. Everyone's scared.
Okay.
Yep. I've had the best. Some of my closest friends are some of the top wedding planners in the world. Right? They get invited to speak all over the world, and even they feel exactly how I feel.
Oh, really?
They're nervous before getting up on stage. We'll discuss points with each other. Listen, this is my topic. What are your thought processes? Can you tell me some points I can incorporate into my session? And I will do the same with them. But like, yeah, I'm talking about this, and how can you give me some technical knowledge, or what do you know about the certain topic that you can tell me that I'm not thinking about that I can talk about? Because they give us the title initially, but the talking points we have to come up with ourselves, mostly from experience. But you also need to sound smart, right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah.
True. Speaking about EPEX, what is your affinity or your connection with Vivaah? Because I know you have a strong relation with them. You recently did something with them, which was making bucks in the world of transparency. Were you?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously know the organizers really well. My affinity with them is mostly based on friendship, because I've been attending WOW since 2017, 2018. So I know the organizers. I get pulled in to speak at sessions there as well. So I was on a panel session talking about transparency and how clients are reaching out to vendors directly. And in that case, how do you make money? And it was a very interesting conversation.
So how transparent is this industry? How transparent is your profession?
I mean, depends to what level, right? There's certain people that are okay with us being open and transparent, and we'd like to be open and transparent, right? But uh, especially with South Asians, um, they they don't understand in many cases that you have to make money. Like they want to try and save as much as money as possible, which fair play to them. I want them to save money, but if you've come to a professional, let them do their job. If you're going to roll up your sleeves and deep dive into planning your own wedding and getting hold of your own vendors, who's going to take responsibility? If we know of them and they're doing a good job, absolutely happy to. If someone reaches out to you and says, I reached out to Anish, I'm like, fantastic. I know them. They deliver a good job. Um, Excellent. You have a connect, then you get a good price, well and good.
You validate that.
Absolutely. Anyone that we know and we work with or know of that does a good job, more than happy to make that recommendation. But if they're looking for a very cost effective price point and they go out to someone that I don't know, I've never heard of, or I can't find much information of online, or I can't call a friend and get a recommendation about them, how am I supposed to validate what they do? How am I supposed to promise what they deliver? And who takes responsibility if they don't deliver? So yeah, I mean it's important to be transparent, and we are very transparent when it comes to our line of work. But it all depends on the clients, right? Like I'll give you two examples, which I also talked about at the Wow Awards panel session.
Okay.
I have one client who flew down from India to meet us, and they asked us, "Hey, do you make commissions off the hotels?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." Uh, it's like, okay, we've spoken to 4 wedding planners before you, and they all said no. I said, no, we absolutely do. And that is pretty much our right. That's how we make money. If you think what you pay me as my management fee is enough to run an office of 14 people and run the overheads, you're clearly not a businessman because you can't do your math right. And then he said, okay, would you be willing to give me a part of your commission? And I said, okay, that's strange. No, I don't intend to. I don't want to because that is what we're owed as a company. And on the flip side, I met a client a few months ago who said, do you make commissions? And I said, yeah, I do. But that is not money that is owed to you. Hence, if you negotiate and without me, you will not get a discount. My money comes out of their bottom line, the hotel's bottom line. So it's not like it's going to give you a discount. That is something that we are owed for the kind of service we provide. And he said, okay, fair. Can you give me in a contract that you not make more than 10% on every single transaction? I'm like, and I thought about it and I came back and I said, yeah, sure. It keeps things very clean. It keeps things very simple. Yeah, you make lower margins that you intend to, but things are super clean. We're honest with them. We're clear. This is what we make. So on something worth 10 dirhams, we make 1 dirham. But on something worth 100,000, we make 10,000. But he had a very open conversation, a man to man, a businessman to businessman conversation. It was very clear, very honest. And he said, are you okay with making this much? And I said, yeah, I am.
So you earned your credibility because you were that transparent.
In his case, absolutely. Because the gentleman I'm referring to also spoke to a few wedding planners. A lot of them said, no, we don't make commissions. This is all we set.
But the honest truth is that planners make commissions from big vendors like the hotels.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And if someone tells you otherwise, it's incorrect.
This, along with the management fee, is required to be feasible.
Absolutely. If it has to be.
Especially the size and scale of business that you're running.
Absolutely. If you have higher overheads, it's basic math. Just the management fee. If we do 12 weddings, you don't have to be a rocket science to do the math of what I make. And if we have that many people working in our company, they have salaries, we have overheads, we have other bills, we have rents. So you need more money.
But then would you be biased towards those hotels that are willing to have those agreements with you? Not every hotel would maybe want to give you.
I mean, every hotel that is a wedding friendly hotel would offer you commissions. Absolutely. I don't know of any hotel that does not offer you a commission. So there's no chance about being biased.
So it's not like one of the major groups who say we don't get into such kind of agreements with vendors. Everyone has.
Everyone has their setups in the back because everybody knows. Why would anybody bring you a business if they're not taken care of? It's the law of business.
On a bigger picture, when it comes to destinations, like how do you help your clients choose the right destination? Again, that's based on where they are supporting you financially.
Not really. So choosing a destination depends on a few factors. One, the distance. So where are they based? How far they want to travel? Is there a direct flight? Is there a stopover? That's one. Second would be weather. So time of the year. If they're looking at June, July, I would not bring them to the Middle East because it's super hot. I would take them to Europe. But what part of Europe? Brings me to the third point. Why do we choose Europe or not Dubai other than the weather? It's price point. How much are they looking to spend? Within the Middle East, are they looking to be a cost-effective destination? Sure, let's go to Bahrain. Are you looking to spend more? Dubai, absolutely. UAE is a good destination. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah, Ajman. You're looking to spend more? Let's go to Qatar. Let's go to Oman.
So Oman and Qatar
Are relatively more expensive than the UAE.
than the UAE. Okay. And Bahrain is lower.
Bahrain, I mean, again, different hotels have different price points.
Yeah.
But in the general scheme of things, absolutely, Bahrain is more cost effective.
Okay. And where does Europe lie in all of this? Europe is higher or lower
Europe,
than the Middle East?
I mean, Europe could be, starting point would be the same as the UAE and then upwards. Depends on what part of Europe. If you're looking at Malta, if you're looking at Greece, if you're looking at Cyprus, it would be a bit more cost effective. But if you're looking at your typical Switzerland, Italy, France, would be a bit more expensive.
Got it. You recently went to Georgia. How do you think that could be a wedding destination?
I think it's a fantastic destination. It was my first time in Georgia. I got to learn a lot about the destination, a lot about their hospitality, a lot about the people of Georgia. I got to see some cool hotels, got to enjoy some activities. I think it's the future. I think it's one of the future top destinations of weddings, upcoming weddings. So in the future, you will see a lot of weddings happening in Georgia, especially destination weddings, given their price point, given their flexibility, and how open they are as a community.
Do you ever feel to expand beyond weddings, get into corporate events?
Absolutely. So we already have. We've been doing corporate events for the last 4 or 5 years, but it's been on a very reactive basis. So as and when it comes on our plate, we'll take it up. We don't go actively looking for it. But as of the last 1 year, we've set up a separate department because we do a lot of work with the tourism boards around the world. So we help them, and that's corporate as well. So whether it's consultancy or marketing or advising them on how to become a destination is what we do for them. And then we've done things like we worked for big corporates as well, and that's been my previous life, my past life, where all I've done is corporate events and corporate brand activations and corporate events and launches is what I did, and now we're looking at it actively.
Okay. And you were raised in Dubai. What are you doing for Dubai? Is there something where you try to promote and push Dubai for weddings and events?
I mean, Anish, I've always been a flag bearer of Dubai, right? Not from now. Dubai has always been home. I don't consider any other place home. Love India, love the people, love the culture, speak the language, eat the food, love everything about it. But that doesn't change the fact that Dubai is home. So when I travel out and speak to people around the world and they ask me where I'm from, I say Dubai. In many ways, it doesn't add up because this Indian-looking guy that's saying he's from Dubai. But that is the truth, right? Born and raised, family's been here for 4 generations. Grandfather came in the early or late 40s, and we've been here since then. So Dubai is home. So from the get-go, I've always been a flag bearer in the international wedding community of Dubai. So not only do we talk about Dubai and promote Dubai, but we also work very closely with the Dubai government to promote Dubai as a destination. So an example of that is an IP we created for the Dubai tourism, which we launched this year, called the Dubai Wedding Symposium, where we fly out some of the top wedding planners, destination wedding planners of the world into the UAE and then into Dubai and showcase them Dubai for 3 or 4 days. Different aspects, different dinner places. We show them multiple hotels, put them in nice hotels, and we cover their flight costs and all expenses and showcase Dubai as a destination. And that's one IP that we've created for the Dubai tourism.
Great. So who pays for this?
The Dubai government.
Oh, fantastic. And you manage and organize everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic.
So this is an IP we created, and we run it for the Dubai government. It belongs to them, and we hope to run it for as long as we can.
Oh, great. So this is going to consistently happen every year.
Absolutely. We're already in talks for the next one, which is happening next year.
Okay. I also want to understand a bit on what is TEG?
TG is a consortium of event managers and event planners and production companies. TG stands for the event group. Before the TEG, there was an association called ILEA, which is a US-based association which had a Dubai chapter.
Okay.
And post-COVID, they decided to start their own association. And with the help of the Dubai government, they established the association for event planners and wedding planners and all kind of event managers. And that's what TG is all about.
Okay. And your contributions for Wow for Girls?
Okay, so Wow for Girls is completely different.
Yeah.
Wow for Girls is something that I heard about in 2021 at a conference that I was speaking at, and I heard the CEO Clay Dunn talk about Wow for Girls. It is a association built by Princess Mabel, the Princess of Netherlands, and the Ford Foundation of the U.S. And they empower women to choose the life they want for themselves and keep young girls from child marriage, essentially. And this is not necessarily in the US, it's all over the world. Their main markets would be Africa, India, but then again, all over the world. And then I really wanted to get associated with them. At the time, we were looking for a cause to sort of associate with that also works well with the same ethos as us as a company and sort of works within the industry as well. And we sort of joined hands with them and they chose me as their international brand ambassador to sort of talk about Wow for Girls.
Okay. So your contributions, do you also have any kind of financial transactions or contributions towards this cause?
I mean, yes, we do. It's not significant or as much as I would like for it to be, but we do everything from brand awareness to fundraising. There is a Day of the Girl, which is in October. We try and celebrate by getting the wedding planners of the fraternity to come join us. The last year, we did a nice breakfast event where we had 30 of the wedding planners from within the city join us, and then they made contributions towards. So it was like a fundraising event where people could just scan a QR code and make their donation, whether it's as low as $20 or as high as whatever they want. So we help fundraise. We talk about it. We get the word out, and we get more people aware of the situation.
Arun, I also want to understand, especially for new aspiring wedding planners, what are the challenges that you face as an established planner or over the course of the time now with the current trends and the competition locally, globally, destination, events, weddings, what are the challenges are you facing at the moment?
There are always challenges, right? With any business in the world. What we're facing is what trends, which direction the trends are going on, how the millennials were thinking and what the Gen Z is thinking. What is the thought process, which direction they're going in. So we have to continuously upgrade ourselves and our thought process and continuously be around them to understand which direction they want to go in. It's one of the most important challenges. The minute you sort of take a step back and not want to be happy with what you have, you'll lose the race because you do not know what's ahead of yourself, right? You can't just be complacent in where you are and not know what's in the future. whether it's the race of AI, whether it's the race of how Gen Z is thinking now and how Gen Alpha will think in the future.
That's interesting because as we are getting older, your clients are getting younger. So the gap just keeps increasing and you need to make sure you're adapting.
And that's always been the case, right? We're not the first set of wedding planners. Before us, there are people that have been in the business for 20 years, 30 years, even 40 years. I recently spoke to a friend of mine whose mother started the business 45 years ago. And then how the daughter took over, and now her daughter is taking over the business, and how the thought process of running the business changes, how the thought process of dealing with clients changes, how the mentality changes, and how you have to keep ahead of the curve to understand what the future generations are thinking. We've been talking about sustainable weddings for almost 10 years of my career. But when I really got to work was when we got our first offer to do our first sustainable wedding. Otherwise, before it was all talks.
What is a sustainable wedding?
Something that is an eco-friendly wedding, something that does not have waste, something that um, people are not, animals are not harmed, people are not harmed. It's a vegetarian wedding. It's where electricity is not wasted. Basically, nothing is wasted.
Food's not wasted. In weddings, food gets wasted tremendously.
There's tremendous amount of food wastage.
Yeah.
But when we did this wedding, we ensured that there was a plastic-free wedding. There was no paper at the wedding. Everybody were picked up in Teslas. So there was no gas guzzling cars picking up people at the airport and bringing them to the hotel. All the food that we sourced for the cooking was organically grown, locally sourced, not flown down. It was complete vegan wedding. We then ensured that everyone that was a part of the wedding, including the decorators, didn't waste anything. So all the products that were used, including flowers, were then repurposed. So there was absolutely a zero waste wedding. And then we also went ahead and calculated how much carbon footprint was generated by the people that traveled into Dubai for the wedding, because it was not a local wedding. Whilst there were a lot of people locally, a lot of people also flew in. So we then understood what carbon footprint they generated when they traveled in. And then to offset that carbon footprint, we planted over 30,000 trees in Dubai. And that's when the title of the most sustainable wedding was given to us.
Oh, really? How long ago was this?
This was in 2021.
Oh, COVID.
It was right after COVID. Luckily, we had the right support from the government as well, because at the time the World Expo was happening here, the Expo 2020, which happened in 2021.
Yeah.
And they had a team of consultants because Expo was completely sustainable. And we had the right support from the government to guide us in the right direction.
Timing is everything.
Absolutely.
I'm sure in you.
I mean, we lucked out in many ways with the connections we have, with the kind of right support we got, because it was a challenging wedding. Yeah, we had to go out of our comfort zone. We had to also get our vendors to go out of their comfort zone to do something that is essentially not paying them more. It's paying them the same, but we want to make it sustainable, so they have to change their ways.
All right. Finally, Arun, what is your vision for next year, 2025?
The vision for me personally is to be able to continue putting systems and processes in place so I can build a team that is very sustainable and manages things themselves. Even though right now the team manages things amazingly well, and I'm very proud of how they're doing at this point. But I want to try and focus more on how I can make the team more sustainable and more efficient by putting the right systems and processes in place. So it gives me more time to do what I want to do.
And what do you want to do?
I want to try and give back. I want to give back to the society. I want to give back to the industry. I'm only here because someone gave back to me. So I want to try and pay that back. I want to try and help other people. I want to help other wedding planners get to where they want to get to. So that's the plan.
Thank you for your time. CEO and founder of Vivaah Weddings, Arun Bablani. Thank you.